What's up, guys? Welcome to Real Beats. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to quickly turn your own sample into a beat. If you do end up enjoying the video, make sure you do hit that sub button and turn post notifications on because it helps out a lot. With that being said, let's get started. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna just play this. We made this back a few vids back. And this is just the sample version of it. Okay, so, and I'll just change this color just so it's more visible. So you see we have these markers. Now I deleted the markers so we can make them together, but these are important, okay? So that you can kind of keep it on beat. So what I like to do is, instead of putting everything completely on the grid, I like to offset it. So I like to put it within the sample because usually these parts in the middle are the parts that get messed up when you start messing around and stretching stuff, right? So you can press Alt-T if you're in FL. If you're in a different program, I don't know what to use, but you just got to find the label markers, and I'm gonna just put them in the same spots. They're in. Right now, you want these to match up on the grid when you're editing your samples, so that you know it'll be on beat. If it's off, you know it'll be off beat, right? So that's kind of the point. So what we can do now is reverse. Okay, we can listen. And technically you could make a beat right now, right? Because you know it's 100% on beat, even reverse, etc. So let's right click and we're going to consolidate this track because we want to embed this information, right? Because it's not embedded right now. Okay, so now it's embedded in here and it's reversed, right? Because you can see this one is reversed, but the markers are off. But when you embed it, right, it's in the right spots. Okay, so that's why we make our markers. So from here you can chop it. At this point you can manipulate it however you want. Let's just keep this simple. We can just do this chop right here. It's perfectly on beat, right? We can just use this one, and then we can consolidate this one as well, because this is our new chop, so you want to consolidate this, right? So let's just highlight this to make sure it doesn't leak over. Consolidate tracks, just let it do its thing. Okay, so now we have this, right? We can move this around. Matter of fact, well, I'm gonna just leave it how it is. Just kind of move this stuff out the way. So this is our new one, right? So now if we wanted to edit, and I'll just play it, it's kind of the same thing. So now if we wanted to change the BPM, so if we want to go lower, higher, whatever you want to do, we could do, let's do 135. This will work. Now you will come into some issues with some of these modes. Like if you go to auto, usually, oh, it didn't mess up, but usually sometimes it will mess up. I don't know why, but sometimes when you add markers, it messes up the, matter of fact, it probably still will mess up. Yeah, you see, look, you see it for some reason, I don't know why it's doing that, but you know, you can just leave it on resample or stretch. Stretch will keep the key the same, but if you right click up time and you go to 4 bars, it'll map it perfectly to your new BPM. Right, obviously it doesn't sound good, but if you go to stretch, and if it has bounce like that, you know it's on beat, and you still have your markers as well. So now what we would do is stretch it. So you turn on stretch. Now here are some tips. If you want a triplets, you use odd numbers. So just think of this as a section. So 4 bars is a section, right? So you can see like this one's a little lighter than this part. You want to keep them even if you wanted to make like a beat, right? So this, right? So this is 2 sections. This will work. You see it has that bounce. But when you use odd numbers, it has like a triplet effect, right? And it still works. As you see, it still kind of works, but in terms of an actual beat with the drums, it'll be a little off. You see it has like kind of a triplet feel. So if you make sure that these are even, so we can do, let's do 6 like this. Right, perfectly on beat. So that is how we can manipulate our sample. So now what we can do, let's add an instrument on this. Okay, All right, so here is the piano I'm using, and I'm just using the piano. So as far as adding sounds, usually go with the type of sounds you already have, and that's the easy way to go about it. Because when you start mixing in synths and realistic sounds, it starts to get very cloudy on like what you should use. And it just takes time to get that experience to know what works and doesn't work. So as you can see, I have a lot of realistic instruments, right? Guitar, bass, voice, flute, bell, guitar for my main instrument. So a lot of these instruments in real life are made to sound good together, so you can't really go wrong with this. But if I wanted to add like a EDM, hyperpop lead, that probably wouldn't go well. So that is kind of a little tip you can use for that. So this is the piano we're using. So I'm gonna copy the key since we're in the same key, and we're just gonna make one, call it piano, and then copy this in. And we don't need to make this difficult. What we can do is just use the roots and the first chord from that root. So let's go in here. Right, and that sounds good as its own. So now we just need to animate this, right? So we can pull this. Well, I guess it's not pulling down. There we go. So you can pull this down, and just offset it. So on the grid, off the grid, y'all should know that already. Pull that over, and then let's pull this up. Let's do another octave. That way we have like a nice range. I'm gonna use this note, right? And this is just simple stuff here. You're just using the notes from the chord and just offsetting. Let's do a little flam. I want these to stop quickly. Let's go up a little higher. And I'll add some presets because the bass for this sample is a little too much. And I just did some housekeeping, so it's not too much. And let's just take this, pull it over. I kind of like that, and let's just pull this F over. And then from here, we just kind of start taking this stuff, do something like this. Let's take this over here and just reverse it. All right, and just use your ear at this point to kind of just make what you want. I'm gonna mess with the velocity of these so they're not perfect. Okay, let's listen to it. Just something simple. Something over here doesn't sound right. Okay, that's just gonna have to do, but you get the point. So we just use that first chord, right? And that's something very, very simple you can do. Now, if you want to add other chords, you'll probably have to go and reference what you have to keep it in harmony and stuff like that, right? But yeah, that's it for the sample. So I think we're good here. And what we can do is add our drums. All right, so real quick with the effects, I just added some things. So with the sample, I put it in here, and I just panned it to the left, and I panned the piano to the right. And pretty much, just a little leveling. So what I did is I sent this signal, okay, into this channel, and I put a Valhalla room on it. Okay, and that's the preset. And just to kind of open it a bit, because we want to make space for our 808 because the bass in here was way too heavy. As you can see, I just had to take a lot of that out. And then I just turn it up. And then just another preset for the piano. And it could use a little bit more work, but just some prep for the bass, right? So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so now what we're gonna be doing is our 808. So this is something that people forget to do. So remember, we reversed our sample, and this right here is the original. Okay, this is the original bass line. So when you reverse it, basically everything from up here goes to the front, right? And it just flips. So you need to make sure that you flip the bass line as well. So just remember these. We can copy this, and then I already made a drum pattern, paste it in. Okay, and then you just move everything over this way. And I pasted this in the wrong area. Let's cut it and paste it on our 808. And make sure our drums, okay? So this will be like an intro, and this will be where our drums hit, okay? Or 808 hits. So Shift D, pull this up. Just pick a nice octave, probably like 5. And we can make this real smooth. It doesn't need to be too complicated. I think we spent enough time. Just take this, just follow this the whole way. Pull these down, that might sound good. And then let's bring this back in. All right, that should be good. All right, and that's the 808, right? And I kind of wanted to see. Right, we can make variations, but I'm just keep it consistent. So here's that, and now we can just add our drums, which should be very simple because we only got a few. All right, so here we have our drums, and I'm gonna hide these, so Alt-Z, just so this looks a little better to look at. With the drums, I think I'm gonna go with something smooth and slow because this kind of gives me like a sad vibe type beat, and I'll turn off the sample as well, just so we can. And I want this to be a little lower. And let's put this to 32 so it loops. We need. Yeah, I'm not using that. All right, I think this is cool. Let me see. Okay, I think that's good for just like this bass part. Obviously, I will go in and make variations as the beat goes through, but as far as the beat itself, I think that's good. We may need to level a bit. So now we have a beat. Right, and of course you can make variation. I kind of want to hear this. Let me see. Okay, still sounds nice. But that's gonna be it for this video. Hopefully it was helpful. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.